The legendary Chuck Norris is regarded as one of Hollywood's very best martial arts actors, and even though he's no longer acting or fighting, stories are still being told about the baddest Texas Ranger of all time. Speaking of which, Yellowstone creator Taylor Sheridan has recalled how he watched Chuck Norris beat up an actor on the set of Walker, Texas Ranger. Keep watching to get the full details. What you need to know: those who grew up in the 90s and early aughts probably know who Chuck Norris is. If not for anything else, you have probably watched Walker, Texas Ranger, or at least heard someone talk about it. But in case you haven't seen it, Chuck was a no-nonsense ranger who knew exactly how to use his fists and feet to bring bad guys down. So good was he that many years later, Chuck Norris memes flooded the internet, with each one describing just how deadly of a fighter he was. You've probably heard the jokes like, Chuck Norris once beat Medusa in a staring contest. Chuck Norris doesn't breathe, he holds air hostage. Chuck Norris isn't afraid of the dark. The dark is afraid of Chuck Norris. And these sort of memes about one man's fighting skills to be flying around the internet regularly, and the legend must be true, do not engage Chuck in a fight. But that's just Hollywood, right? And many things we see in shows and films are make-believe. As far as Chuck is concerned, his fighting skills are as real as it gets, and one unfortunate actor learned the hard way not to mess with him. Ironically, the incident between Chuck and the actor took place on the set of the hit TV show Walker, Texas Ranger. Details in a bit. Sheridan's account of the Chuck Norris incident: younger fans will know Taylor Sheridan for being the creator of the hit TV series Yellowstone. However, the man's been making a name for himself on TV for a long time. Most people do not know the Yellowstone creator was part of the cast for Walker, Texas Ranger back in the 90s. Specifically, the show gave Sheridan his very first acting role in 1995, from which he continued to grow on his name. In an interview with New York Times, Sheridan reminisced about his time working on Texas Ranger and told a particularly interesting story of the legendary Chuck Norris. First, he described Chuck as humble, nice, and down to earth, but that certainly didn't make him a pushover. He told the story of how Chuck Norris and another actor got into a heated argument on set and how it led to a physical confrontation between the two men. In his account, he described Chuck as a small guy, while the actor who got beat up by him was a much larger dude. Anyone who didn't know Chuck would have thought it was a mismatch, but Chuck's fists proved that assumption wrong. A couple of punches here and there, and Chuck had knocked the actor to the ground, and that was it. Fight one. Why would anyone want to fight Chuck Norris? Those who know Chuck will tell you that he's a cool guy, just as Taylor Sheridan himself had described the actor, but he wasn't the biggest guy, so I can understand why a larger man would think he stood a chance. Sheridan said in a quote, "Chuck Norris was the first celebrity I ever met, and he was such a gracious guy, but he got into a fight with another actor. Chuck's itty-bitty, and this guy was huge." And while Sheridan didn't say what started the heated argument between Chuck and the actor, he still questioned why anyone would want to fight him. He further went on to say, "You know all the Chuck Norris jokes, right? He doesn't just beat people up with his fists." Sheridan praised Chuck for being a world-class martial artist who could crack open a person's skull in a heartbeat. He also said Chuck would still have a good night's sleep after sending his opponents to the hospital. In more praising statements, Sheridan added that he's fully convinced that Chuck would have beaten up the biblical Goliath with one right cross. Exaggeration or not, Sheridan's account of how he saw Chuck Norris beat up the fellow actor is just one of the many legendary tales about the now retired actor. Who's the actor that Chuck Norris beat up? Since Sheridan's account of the Chuck Norris fight was so descriptive, I'm sure you all want to know who the beat up actor is. Unfortunately, Sheridan didn't give us a name, so we'll just have to dig deeper to find out, or let the story rest. It could be that Sheridan knows who the actor is but doesn't want to say his name out of respect, or maybe the actor is just an unknown upcoming fellow and Sheridan truly didn't know his name. Well, whether we know his name or not, I'm sure getting into an altercation with Chuck Norris is an experience that actor will never forget. Other Chuck Norris news: it's been a while since we saw Chuck Norris on TV, and if I remember correctly, an appearance on Sylvester Stallone's Expendables in 2012 was it. Oh, and there also was a 2020 cameo appearance in Hawaii Five-0, but since then the man has evolved from being an actor to becoming somewhat of a myth, as he's rarely seen in public, well, except for his name, as he has been used to make more deadly memes than we can count. Memes aside, there have also been too many Chuck Norris death rumors. Although these rumors are untrue, the man is still alive and well. Low profile or not, I've done some digging to find out where the legendary Chuck Norris is and what he's been up to in 2022, so keep watching this video to find out what we know. Why did Chuck Norris step away from Hollywood? Besides his brief appearances on Expendables and Hawaii Five-0, Chuck Norris has done a few infomercials here and there. Other than that, he's kept his distance from Hollywood. There's a good reason for this involving his wife, Gina. It was reported in 2017 that she developed an enigmatic illness after a series of MRI scans, and according to the Mirror, Gina was given 3 gadolinium injections over the course of 8 days in an attempt to help diagnostic imaging efforts. Unfortunately, despite all the actor's efforts, things didn't get better for her as she later developed weak joint pains and full body tremors. And as if that wasn't enough, she had also lost as much as 15 pounds due to her baby food diet, which became mandatory because of her inability to swallow food. Her illness remained a medical mystery. However, the Norris family believes she was suffering from gadolinium poisoning. The doctors believed otherwise and continued treatment. Thankfully, she's found some relief later on, but that didn't mean her husband Chuck was going to leave her side. He decided to take a break from Hollywood to care for his wife, and the two of them now raise awareness about gadolinium and its side effects. Was Chuck Norris at the Capitol riots? Since Norris left the public eye a few years ago, it's difficult to determine exactly what he's doing these days, but we can be certain that he wasn't present for the January 6th riot in the Capitol. There was a Chuck Norris look-alike among the crowd, and many Twitter users were certain he was that one. However, his representatives have denied the accusations, even citing that Chuck was better looking than the doppelganger, and as far as we know, Chuck has been with his family in Texas ever since. What's Chuck Norris doing now? Chuck Norris may be laying low in his Texas home, but that doesn't mean he isn't up and about with business. He currently runs a water company called Seaforce, right from his Texas property, and a non-profit organization called Kickstart Kids, which offers karate lessons to children. Chuck Norris still appears on TV though, as his image is still used for several products and services. These include automobile maker Fiat, Quick Trip, and a video game called World of Tanks. Media aside, he's also a spokesperson for gun manufacturer Glock, and according to a statement from the company, Glock is seeking a spokesman that exemplifies the same characteristics and principles. The parallels between Glock and Norris, delivers an authentic, fun, and legendary alignment of the brands. So Hollywood or not, Chuck Norris has done well to keep himself busy, as these brand deals will earn him a lot of money. And even though we may never see him on a film again, his legacy as one of the best martial arts actors remains firmly intact, and nothing can take that away from him. So does anyone out there know the actor who got beat up by Chuck Norris on the set of Walker, Texas Ranger? If you have a clue, then kindly share with us in the comments section. And if you enjoy watching the video, please like and share with your friends so they can watch it too, but don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification button to keep getting interesting content like this. That's it for now, my friends. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.